meaningless, and there is no God. On the other side, we have another group that is 100% certain the universe has a point, has a meaning, and there is a God. One side's right, one side's wrong, right? My personal point of view is they're both wrong. What is science? Science is based on decidable statements. If I drop my cell phone, I know it's decidable that it will fall under gravity. Science is based on statements that you can test, reproducible, decidable, falsifiable. But the question of does God exist, does the universe have a point, is undecidable. It is not part of science. It's like trying to disprove a unicorn. Let's say you want to disprove the existence of unicorns. It's really hard to do, because maybe some island, maybe in outer space, there are unicorns. How do you prove that unicorns do not exist? Very difficult. Now, I'm a physicist. My goal in life is to complete Einstein's dream of an equation, perhaps no more than 1 inch long, that will summarize all physical knowledge and allow us to, quote, read the mind of God. So what was his point of view toward God? Einstein said there really are 2 types of God. And that's the source of confusion. The first God is the personal God. The God of vengeance. The God that smites the Philistines. The God that answers your prayers. The God of Moses and Isaac and Jacob. Einstein said he couldn't believe in that God. But there's a second God. The God of Spinoza, Leibniz. The God of harmony, beauty, simplicity, elegance. That the universe could not have been an accident. So I see no evidence of God. However, that doesn't mean that there is no existence, there's no meaning. That doesn't mean there's not a purpose or a God out there. I just can't see it in the equations of physics. So in string theory, which is what I do for a living, we think we have a candidate for the theory of everything. The theory that eluded Einstein. And so we even now have a candidate for the mind of God. In string theory, because everything is based on vibrating strings.
Time out.
The candidate for the mind of God would be, oh, time's up.
Just
The
last word,
candidate for
please.
the mind of God would be cosmic music resonating through 11-dimensional hyperspace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michio Kaku.
Well, I have to say that I'm surprised by what Michio Kaku said at the very beginning in ascribing to our team 100% certainty in what we have argued. I don't think any of us claimed to have 100% certainty, and in fact, I would say that all of the arguments we presented for the existence of God were probability arguments. And they are arguments to the effect that the existence of God is so likely that it is the way we ought to bet with our lives if we should have purpose. That is not 100% certainty. But I did get the sense of 100% certainty that science is the only source of knowledge, according to this side over here. And Michio Kaku, maybe that's your view too, I don't know, because you did say that the God question is undecidable. How undecidable? Well, presumably because you can't prove that God exists or even show his probability if you have science only to go with. But of course, there are many things we know, including that God may well exist because of other evidence without depending exclusively on science. Richard Dawkins has accused us of making an emotional argument. But I believe that his presentation is especially emotional. He has not argued that God does not exist. Thank you. He has not shown that any of the arguments we presented here today are fallacious. Rather, he has simply dismissed the idea of God as pathetic.
Time out, I'm sorry.
That's emotional. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Michio Kaku, please.
In my next book, Physics of the Future, I try to predict the next 100 years based on interviews with 300 scientists. Very difficult question. But I predict that 100 years from now, on the 103rd anniversary of this conference, we will have another debate arguing the same thing over again. Because, for two reasons. First, it is undecidable. You cannot decide this question using any known rational means. It is undecidable. Second, there's probably also a God gene. Some people believe that perhaps we are genetically predisposed to believing in higher beings, in which case we'll be talking about this debate forever, as long as we have our genes. Now, my colleague Stephen Hawking recently wrote a very controversial statement, was in all the headlines. He said, first, we have a theory of everything. It's string theory, the theory that I work on, and it takes you before the Big Bang. Therefore, God is not necessary, because we now have a theory of the pre-Big Bang universe. My attitude is, well, where did string theory come from? It goes on forever. Even if you can go before the Big Bang, then the question is, where